What is going on, everybody? It is Guardian, and for the third deck on this channel, I think we're going to go with something that I actually have enjoyed playing to tournaments. I recently got top cut at the recent Draw Pass TCG tournament. Almost made finals. I got 4th place out of the 100 or something people that competed with Hydreigon Dusknoir. Now, we're going to go over this. It's going to be a little bit of a lot, but typically I talk really fast, so the deck list is like maybe 5-10 minutes. I'm also trying something different. The cam is going to be on the left side of your screen, so let me know whether you guys fluff with that or not. Whether, like, if you guys want it back on the right side, or if you like it on the left side. I feel like on the right side, it sort of covers up the timer for both players, but I think maybe the left side might be a little bit better just for consistency's sake. But without further ado, let's get into this. So we're playing a 2-1-1 Dusknoir line. Now, the reason I'm playing a 2-1-1 is because the Gardevoir has been tearing up the meta right now. Gardevoir has just consistently been the best deck in the format for the longest time, and it seems like every single set that the Game Freak or Creatures Inc. wants to release, they decide to give Gardevoir like just another card to make it absolutely insane. So what the basic game plan is against the Gardevoir matchup is to get your Dusknoir out as soon as possible. And if you can land an Obsidian attack, which is something that I can do pretty frequently, you can go ahead and just demolish a Gardevoir, because what you end up doing is you bring up to the active, because you're probably going to be down on prize cards. This is a bit of a slower deck, so they might take out something like a Deino. They might take out one of your Pidgeys or a Duskull even. So what you really want to do is you want to be able to counter catcher up like a Gardevoir or something, hit it with a Dusknoir, and then you can Obsidian it for the KO, and then you can take out like a bench Curlia or something. And then at that point, the Gardevoir player does not have any time to set up or attack with anything. So your Obsidian is just going to end up basically winning you the game straight up, and even take you like 3 prize cards, which is going to be absolutely insane. We play 1 copy of Lillie's Clefairy because we do end up actually playing Psychic Energy, and your Dragapult matchup is kind of finicky, especially if they're playing the Ghosts and Dragons Dragapult. You're going to be having a bit of a rough time. So Lillie's Clefairy is there to just make sure that you're going to be able to swing for a KO on a Dragapult or something. And that's basically the only reason it's there for. It's kind of a dead card to draw into, realistically, if you don't have anything set up at the moment. So I feel like Lillie's Clefairy is probably the most cuttable card in this deck, but I feel like since the 2 top decks right now are going to be Dragapult, Gardevoir, and having a counter to both of them that realistically fit within this deck, you're going to be having a bit of a good time. So we end up playing a 3-1-3 Dusknoir line. I feel like there's nothing really to talk about the Deino. I mean, you could stomp off, take off a card of their deck. You could stomp off with Zweilous to take off 2 cards of their deck, and you can also... The main attacker in this deck is going to be Hydreigon EX with the Crashing Headbutt attack. Discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and 200 damage. That alone is enough to make it an insane card. But we also have the Obsidian attack for a Psychic, Dark, Metal, and Normal type energy. This attack also does 130 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon while hitting the active for 130. If your opponent is weak to you, you're hitting for 260 and taking out a bunch of stage 1s or even basics on their bench. And you can also have scenarios where if your opponent doesn't have... Let's say you're playing against the Raging Bolt and end up benching like Squawks and a couple of Ogerpon, because you need the Ogerpon to be able to set up. Well, you can't really... Never mind, scratch that. If they have a bunch of Squawks down and a bunch of Raging Bolts down, because the math still works. You can't hit TMS Ogerpon while they're on the bench. I forgot about that. See, like, listen, I'm telling you guys. Professional player, by the way. Your Obsidian is going to be able to basically secure the game within two hits. Or, even if you can't really secure the game, because sometimes your Hydreigon gets knocked out because Bolt is one of those big basic decks that tries to take a knockout in one shot. Obsidian is going to put a lot of pressure on your opponent because those Raging Bolts and those Squawks are going to be sitting there as huge prize liabilities. And even then, if you hit a Raging Bolt for 130, your Dusknoir is going to be able to clean that up at the snap of a finger. So that's sort of really cool about that. We are playing 1 copy of Fezandipiti EX just for that draw support. If one of your Hydreigon gets knocked out and you need an extra 3 cards, you can also just draw 3. And in some scenarios, you might even be using Cruel Arrow to be able to snipe something for 100. Not ideal. And to wrap it all up, we're playing a 2-1-2 Pidgeot line. Now, some people might sit here and think 3 stage 2s, that's crazy. I've been playing Dusknoir and Pidgeot lines in almost every deck that I play. At locals, I'll play Zard Dragapult, not Zard Dragapult. That's a deck that I need to learn how to play, because that's also that makes my 2 best performing decks mesh together a little bit better. But I play Dusknoir and Pidgeot and a lot of stuff together, whether it's Dragapult, Charizard, or Hydreigon. It basically doesn't... It's not as bad as some people think it is playing 3 stage 2s. It's not that difficult. One of them you're going to evolve manually. One of them you use your rare candies for. It's not really that deep. We're playing a pretty standard 4 Buddy Buddy Poffin. We all know what this does. 270 HP Pokemon, put them on your bench. So it's going to get your Pidgeys, Deinos, and Duskulls. And that's going to let you choose whether or not which stage 2 you want to get out first. Because sometimes you might be messing around and getting the Duskull out first, depending on your matchup. And sometimes you might want to get the Pidgeot for that extra consistency. We play one copy of Counter Catcher, which we use to combo with the Dusknoir every now and then. We can Arvin for Counter Catcher, bring something up that we want to see knocked out, and take it out. One copy of Earthen Vessel. Sometimes you're missing one specific type of energy, and it's just good to be able to get that one of out whenever you need it. We are playing also one copy of Night Stretcher, so sometimes you might have a Pidgey on your bench for a couple of turns, and you might draw into a Rare Candy. Well, discard a Pidgeot, grab it back with Night Stretcher, boom, boom, boom. You know, easy. Speaking of Rare Candy, 4 copies. Because we're playing a whole lot of Stage 2s, we really want to get the Rare Candies out as quickly as humanly possible. But sometimes it's not really like that. Sometimes the Rare Candy Pidgeot and a Rare Candy Hydreigon is sort of like a combo that you can pull off pretty consistently. We are also playing one copy of Super Rod to be able to shuffle 3 Pokemon or basic energy back into our deck. Sometimes, you know, you might want to get your whole Duskull line back. Sometimes you might want to get the energy that you need out, and then you can Earthen Vessel for it, and things like that. Only 3 copies of Ultra Ball. We're not playing 4. There's a lot of cards in this deck that are one-ofs, so discarding them just never really feels good, especially considering we don't have many cards that let you bring items back into your deck. We are playing one copy of Artazon for our Stadium. So Artazon basically lets you get out whatever basic Pokemon you didn't get out with Buddy Buddy PAF, and that's sort of the reason it's here. And onto our supporter lineup, we have quite a lot of them. We have 3 copies of Arvin, just to be... Is it 3? Yeah, 3 copies of Arvin, just to be able to search out a tool card and an item card whenever we really need it. This can get you your Rare Candies if you have 2 pieces of the puzzle together in your hand and you need that 3rd piece together to put it all into one beautiful, beautiful combination. You can go ahead and grab that with the Arvin. We are playing 2 copies of Boss, pretty basic. 1 copy of Brock's Scouting has saved me in a lot of situations, because sometimes you really just need to get out that evolution Pokemon and you don't really have an Ultra Ball or anything to really search for. Or you can use it like a Buddy Buddy Poffin, and you can grab things that you might need at the time. It doesn't say Pokemon without a rule box, you know, so you can grab your Fezandipiti, you can grab your Clefairy with it. Not that bad. 2 copies of Crispin. Crispin is going to be really essential to be able to get that Obsidian off, because you can search for any 2 of these types of energy right here. It's not really that crazy. 3 copies of Iono just for that late game and early game consistency. Just being able to get a new fresh hand is just always going to feel real nice. 2 copies of Jacq just to get your stage 1s out if you're really in a situation where that could be helpful for you. Like your Dusclops, you might want to get your Pidgeotto, or sometimes, like I said earlier, you might have the Pidgey on the bench, you might have a Rare Candy in hand, you can Jacq to get the Pidgeot, and then you can sort of get a line going with that. We have 1 copy of Professor's Research, discard your hand, draw a fresh 7. It's really simple. Sometimes that can really help you in a couple of matchups. And now for our tool cards, we have 2 copies of Counter Gain, which if we're behind on the prize trade, it X's out a normal energy cost for an attack, like the one on Obsidian or Crashing Headbutt. Doing 200 and discarding 3 for a single Dark Energy, that feels really, really good. We also play 1 copy of Rescue Board to reduce our retreat cost by 1. This is definitely going to be replaced by Air Balloon the moment that Black Bolt and White Flare come out, because we have a couple of really hefty retreat costs in this deck. You know, Hydreigon with 3, and then if you don't have a way to get it out of the active spot, you're kind of in a tough spot. We also play 1 copy of Team Evolution, so with a deck like this, you're preferably going to want to go second to be able to TM Evo, get your stage 1s out, and sort of get the ball rolling a little bit more quick. A spec of choice is going to, of course, be Neo Upper. Some people prefer the Sparkling Crystal for Hydreigon, but Sparkling Crystal doesn't actually get you the free Crashing Headbutt off of a single attachment unless you have the energy already in hand. This just sort of eliminates that 1-step process. And we're playing a 4, 1, 2, Dark, Steel, and Psychic Energy, respectfully. This deck has served me very, very well as of recent. And there are a couple of times where you might brick, but that's just how the game goes. So anyway, I'll catch you guys in game number 1. Alrighty, game number 1. We're going against maybe an Eevee box, or maybe they're just using the deck, sleeve, coin combo to sort of be a little bit stylish. Maybe that's what they're doing. But we do end up losing the coin flip. So I guess we'll see how this kind of goes right here. Go ahead, show me what you got. Any day now. People on this game be so slow for no reason. And I will go first. Okay. So the TM Evo play isn't necessarily going to be going off this turn, but we do get a phenomenal hand to start the game off with. So we're going to PAF in for a Deino, and we're also going to Deino for a... Well, actually, we'll see what they have in the active spot, because we might draw into something like a Arven, and if we draw into an Arven, we can go ahead and grab a Rare Candy next turn, so we might bench a couple of Pidgeys to sort of get it rolling, a Pidgey and a Deino, just to make sure that we can secure a decent little line, because they're not going to be evolving. They're at most going to be swinging for like 70 or something, depending on if they're playing Pidgeot Donk or not. You know, there's a lot of variables that can really go into this. I haven't even seen them put down a Pokemon yet, and I'm already talking like the game's in full swing. But speaking of Pokemon getting put down, here we go. Let's see what I'm up against for game number 1. What do we got? A Mew EX in the active spot. Doesn't really tell me too much. If I had to take a wild guess, we get a Iono, which doesn't feel too terrible in this situation. But maybe I get the Duskull out instead of another Deino, just so that next turn, if I draw into a Rare Candy or something, we can Rare Candy, 130, and then we can sort of get a combo going. That might be what we do here. Just get one of each basic out. I don't really see a world where they're going to be able to get a crazy attack off to knock out our Deino. And there's the Earthen Cyndaquil. So we are going against Earthen's Typhlosion, which is something that I might really want to see how the matchup goes in this deck. Because we do swing for one shot on it with Crashing Headbutt. So we might even go for a little bit of a mill type of playstyle, even though it might help our opponent out a little bit more. That might just be what we need to do here. So they do get a double Cyndaquil down. And maybe we'll top deck an Arven here and sort of make this game a little bit easier for us, but they do end up playing the Research. 2 superior energy retrievals do hit the discard pile. That's rough. But then again, it's Earthen's Typhlosion, so I don't really see a world where they need to get the energy out of the discard pile, considering you attack with 1. But this could also be a wacky deck. I assume that they're going to get the Ho over here. Yep. And they might be able to use that. Oh, I like this. Okay, I like this build a lot. So Golden Flame is going to attach the energy to Slugma? No. Cyndaquil. 3 energy to Cyndaquil. Interesting. I can't really hate too much on that. Not one bit. So I guess we'll kind of see what our opponent's going to be doing. A top deck Arven here could be insane because we could end up taking out that Cyndaquil right there. Or top deck Rare Candy. But we do get a basic Dark Energy as our top deck right now, which doesn't feel too crazy. I think we might go into Dusclops here. And I might try and stall our opponent out for a turn, because I don't really see them doing too much. Although it would be kind of nice to be able to start laying down some pressure. It also depends on exactly what we get here. Because they could play a Latios for some reason. Part of me says I want to boss up that Earthen Soho. Right, because they can't attach the active spot, and they need 2 energy costs. But if they get the 1 energy rescue board, then they're going to be able to get it. But part of me feels like I can get that done here and give myself an extra turn to be able to get that potential Arven top deck to sort of get the huge combo going. And then the turn afterwards, I'll have Dusknoir, which can do a lot of stuff here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bosses up the Earthen Soho, and I'm just going to use Stomp Off and see what I can get rid of here. A basic fire energy, that's not too terrible. So we're going to be trying to lock our opponent out real quick. We do have the Deino on the board, so that in case we do need something, we can go ahead and grab it. But let's see what our opponent's going to be doing here. Either way, next turn, we're going to be taking a prize card and taking out that Cyndaquil with all that energy on it. They grab a Gouging Fire. Interesting card. But I guess we'll go ahead and see what our opponent's going to be doing here. They attach the single fire energy, and they play the Max Rod. So they're going to be able to Earthen Soho onto something. I think it might be the Gouging Fire here. They might just use the Golden Flame on it. If I were to guess. No, onto the other Cyndaquil. Interesting. So they do play the Research. They might have a switch in hand or something like that to be able to sort of make it a little bit easier for them. But I guess we'll find out. Bounded by the Journey, they're going to grab an Earthen's Adventure card. I'm just saying an Obsidian play here would feel absolutely phenomenal, because then we could get a lot of stuff out of the way. What does my cargo do again? Okay, no energy, it has no retreat cost. Okay. I kind of forget what Mag Cargo does. I haven't really played against. Okay, and they are going to pass. Top deck Arven here would be phenomenal. No, we get a top deck Night Stretcher. So I guess we'll evolve into Dusknoir. And we'll play the Iono. And we'll see what we can get off of this. Maybe we get something decent here. And we do end up getting a Hydreigon. But that doesn't help me right now. Interesting. We do have the Orban in hand, though. So, maybe we PAF in here. Grab one of each. We don't want to grab the other Pidgey. We do have a Deino prize. So, I think that maybe what I do here is I take out the Quilava. And then attach a basic Psychic to the Deino. Or we end up sitting here and holding the hand, but I feel like that's not going to be too good necessarily. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the Counter Gain to you. I'll attach the basic Psychic to set that thing up as a potential threat later on. I have the Fez in hand in case they take a knockout. So I think what I might do here is Dusknoir the Quilava. And then who knows, maybe I'll get a Rare Candy off this, and then I'll be upset that I didn't Counter Gain onto the active Deino. But then again, it wouldn't have mattered because we are taking both the prize card here. So we'll see what we get out of the prize cards. Maybe it's our third Deino, and then we can bench that to sort of establish that as like a threat later on. But getting rid of that Quilava is going to definitely be important here. I'm not really too concerned about the Cyndaquil 3 energy. I'm more concerned about the evolution, because they would have to Rare Candy and a Typhlosion to be able to make that happen. And taking that out right now sort of stops them from one-shotting us right now. But they don't have an Ethan's Adventure in the discard pile, which is concerning to me. But they are out 3 superior energy retrievals, so they're not having the greatest of games of all time. But then again, I guess we'll sort of see how their plan works out. They're taking a while to select their prize card right now. Did that Dusknoir just upset them that much? We're going to go ahead and take prize card number 1. What do we get here? We get an Artazon of our own. So that's not going to be anything worth taking at all. I think right now we just stomp off and see what we get rid of now. And it's going to be a boss's orders. That's insane. That's huge. That's huge. Taking out one of their 2 bosses that they most likely play, that's going to stop them from bossing up the Deino on the bench with the energy on it and taking that thing out. So I guess we'll sort of see what my opponent does here. We did shuffle up the deck a little bit, so I do have a chance to draw into the Pidgeot. But I guess we'll sort of see what they do here. They could attach Retreat, the Ho-Oh, and attach the energy to Macargo and go for KO here, but then that opens up Counter Gain, Rare Candy Hydreigon, and then we can Fez for 3 cards. Maybe we get the Dark Energy or something along those lines. Or Neo Upper Energy, which we could search out, and they just concede. Alright, so that's going to be game number 1 with Hydreigon. They just couldn't handle the single Dusknoir that was on the bench. I told you guys, it's sometimes it just be like that. Sometimes it just be like that. So I'm going to catch you guys in game number 2. Here we go with game number 2, straight off of that Dusknoir KO win. So we are going to go for heads. Heads never fails me. When it does, I don't click tails. Speaking of tails. Okay, so they are going to once again decide who goes first or second. I think I might be going first. A lot of decks prefer to go second just because of that no supporter on the first turn of the game rule, which I'm not really too big of a fan of, but hey, to each their own. Yep, and we are going to be going first. So maybe we can get a decent opening hand once again, and we get a Duskull. If we had a PAF in here, that'd be insane. But I guess we'll sort of go and see how this works. Maybe our top deck's something well, never mind. It really wouldn't have mattered anyway. TM Evo is going to be our top deck, so maybe... We are more than likely going to get Itchy Pollen next turn, so maybe I Ultra Ball away... Rare Candy, because that's not going to be too crazy. And Counter Catcher. And I just go ahead and grab... Maybe I grab a Deino here. Or Lillie's Clefairy. Right, because then I can crisp into that next turn. Yeah, we're going to grab a Lillie's Clefairy. And we're going to go ahead and pass the turn here. we're more than likely going to get Itchy Pollen, and it's going to be a bleh type of game. But, hey, sometimes it happens. Badoo is not a problem. Badoo's never been a problem. If you think Badoo is a problem in the game, I just have to say skill issue, honestly. We have enough cards in the format to sort of work around an item lock. They're going to grab PAF and TM Evo, so we're actually going to be seeing what they're playing here. Depending on what they grab here, we're going to shape our game plan around it. Impidimp. So we are playing against Grimmsnarl. I'm not too favored into a matchup like this, especially under item lock, but I guess we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. Maybe we top deck a Dusclops here. We can take out the Badoo, go into this Clefairy, and take a KO or something. That would be the game plan. We get a boss, which doesn't feel too terrible, but it definitely could be better. But then again, if we do boss something up, we can work around the item lock because they would have to attach or treat it. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to go for a boss here. We can hold off on the Crispin for a turn. We can afford to have a dead hand here. Maybe we top deck a Research or something to sort of... I mean, getting rid of Rod Night Stretcher definitely hurts, but we would need something like an Iono or something nice to be able to get ourselves out of a situation like this, because I'm really kind of scared. But they do know... Oh, there's an Iono from them. So hopefully we get something a little bit more playable. And we end up getting... Oh, wow. Okay, so this game is far from over based on that. And they are going to play Spike Mouth Gym. We're definitely going to Poffin for Pidgey and Deino. And then we're going to Arven for another Poffin and a Counter Gain. I really don't want that Clefairy to be on the bench for much longer, because that's just going to be a liability. But they aren't playing the Frostlass version, which is kind of what would scare me the most in a matchup like this. So they're going to get Morgrams down. And I'm cool with this. I'm just fine with this, unless they retreat into Badoo for some reason. You're so not cool. You're so not cool for that. Okay. That's fine. This would be an amazing top deck if my opponent wasn't annoying. That's fine. That is okie dokie. I'm gonna grab Vessel and Counter Gain here. And we'll go ahead and put this here. Let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up a little bit. And see what our opponent does. So you're definitely gonna grab Grimmsnarl here. So a couple turns of item lock never hurt anybody. Guess we'll sort of see how this plays out. But I'm not too concerned about this. I don't know if they have another consistency card in their hand or whatever, but here comes the Grimmsnarl. That's going to be hitting for a lot of damage. But at least next turn we can play our Poffins and get something rolling. They're definitely going to be taking a one prize KO here, which doesn't really bother me too much. Unless they play boss's orders and bring up the Lillie's Clefairy and hit it really hard. But then again, they also then open up Rare Candy Dusknoir, which I can use to take out my Dory and something like that. But yeah, they're really just gonna keep doing this. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be too upset about it, because you're just gonna let me... Yeah, now I have Rare Candy Pidgeot whenever I feel like it, so let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck one last time. And just chill. We don't really have much to do here, because they're going to have to attack with Shadow Bullet at some point in this game. So unless they want to sit here and just stall me out for like 18 turns, then I'm not really going to be too worried about that at all. They can go ahead and do whatever they want. I'm not really too concerned. They're going to retreat. go for a KO with this Grimmsnarl. I'm just waiting for them to do that, because then I can Rare Candy to Pidgeot. I can Paul in for 2 Deinos. I could grab something like a Neo Upper. There's a lot I could do once I have the ability to use my item cards again. So they do play the Artazon, which actually opens up another line for me. But one thing is for certain, I'm going to have to go for an Obsidian play to take out that Monkey Dory as soon as humanly possible, because that Monkey Dory is going to be a problem, especially considering that we don't play one of our own. Some people might ask me why I don't play any Monkey Dories in this deck. That's because I simply think the card is like 10 times worse than any Badoo player, than any Badoo hater could even imagine. Personally, if it was up to me, Monkey Dory would be banned from the format. I think that it's just way too strong of a card. And here comes the Shadow Bullet. So now I can actually play the video game. And that's fine. I'm not really too worried about it, because then we can just manual sheet with Pidgeot. Arbin here feels amazing. Pidgey PAF for 2 Deinos. Artazon for a Duskull. We could Vessel away, research here, grab an energy, swing with Clefairy, because they're not going to be taking a KO. They hit for 180. Clefairy's weak to Steel, right? Yeah, because it's Fairy type. So maybe that's what we do here. Swing hard, and then Obsidian can clean it up, take out a Monkey Dory and an Impotent. Yeah, so that's I think that's our play here. Let's Arvin here. Grab a throwable card. We only have 1 more Rare Candy left in the deck. That's a problem. That's going to be annoying. But I'm not too concerned. Should I be? Probably not. I'm not really too pressed about that, because we are swinging with Clefairy this turn. I think maybe we grab Ultra Ball instead of Night Stretcher. Yeah, we're going to grab Ultra Ball instead of Night Stretcher here. And then we can Vessel away TM Evo. Grab the Psychic Energy, because we need that to attack with Clefairy. It's not the most preferable thing in the world to attack with this Clefairy, but we really don't have too much of a choice here. Let's quick search for the Rare Candy, just so that next turn we can get a Crispin. Yeah, okay, so Full Moon Rondo for 200, which doesn't actually feel too terrible. We're definitely not going to be able to get the Obsidian play off next turn, but they are only swinging for 180. So we actually return a KO here with Lillie's Clefairy. So they Iono away are absolutely godly hand. Probably searching for another Dark Energy to use that Monkey Dory, and we do get Neo Upper Jacq. That's insane. So next turn we can Jacq, get a Hydreigon, Dusknoir, Rare Candy. You know, we got a lot of plays and a lot of options coming in with this next turn. And they are just going to attack, so they couldn't get the energy to use Monkey Dory. Uh-oh. And we just top deck Hydreigon like that. So we need Rare Candy. And then go into Rare Candy Hydreigon. And then maybe we boss up something like this other Grimmsnarl, hit it for 200, and go for like an Obsidian 5 prize card turn. Yeah, I think that might be the play here. So we're gonna Rare Candy this one in the Hydreigon. We're gonna attach a Neo Upper Energy here. We're gonna Jacq to grab a Dusclops and a Zweilous, just to guarantee ourselves a Hydreigon next turn. Just on the this one not getting knocked out at any point during the game, so I'm not really too worried about that. We'll put a rescue board. No, we're not actually gonna do that. Can we? I mean, we could Super Rod away the single that, but it's not really that. purple. We did actually just use Jacq, so we can't really use boss, but I'm okay with taking a 2-prize KO here. So Grimmsnarl does end up going down here, and then next turn we could get a little more shenanigans going. But we do get Dark Energy Fez, so we could quick search for Arven. You're gonna give me Badoo here, so Badoo's gonna take a KO here. That's fine, because then that puts us on to a more preferable prize trade. So they get the Snorunt. Maybe. Actually, we have an Obsidian next turn. Yeah, what am I stressing about? Because I could Pidgeot for Arven, grab Counter Gain, and then just manual attach Dark Energy to Hydreigon, and then next thing we know, we have a 3-prize card turn coming up, and our opponent's going to be stuck. Frostlass isn't really... Actually, we could win the game next turn. I would need a Dusknoir to do that, though. But we could end up grabbing it with Fez. This next turn, we could take 3 with Obsidian, and then... Actually, hold on. I think we win regardless, right? No. No, we don't. Maybe. Okay, so here's the game plan, right? We Dusclops the Badoo. Yeah, actually, hold on. Let me see if I play this right, we're golden. Here's Crispin. Okay. If we can quick search for Counter Gain, if we have one more in deck, please tell me there's one more. Awesome. Yes. Okay, so here's the play. We're gonna Counter Gain onto the Hydreigon. We're gonna Dusclops Badoo, and then we're gonna boss up something like an Impidimp or a Monkey Dory, and then we're gonna take the last 3 prize cards to win the game. Because then they're gonna be on 2 prize cards. I'm gonna be on 3, which still opens up our Counter Gain to being good to go. So they're probably gonna promote a Grimmsnarl or something along those lines. Or they just give me the Snorunt. I mean, I don't even have to use boss here. They just gave me the win. So that's gonna be an Obsidian 4-game. Beautiful play right there. Even under item lock for like 18 turns, we still end up taking it out with Hydreigon EX. And those prize cards are brutal, but my name is not Mr. Prize for absolutely no reason. That's gonna be a 2-0 for the day. Let's see if we can go ahead and get that perfect 3-0 record with Hydreigon EX. On to game number 3. We guaranteed a positive record, so I'm not really too angry. I can't even, there's nothing I can be upset about. After that last game, that was a phenomenal play on my end. And that's why having the Pidgeot and Dusknoir line is not at all a problem. We're going to go second, just so that way we might be able to get this TM Evo playoff. So let's see what we get off of here. I'm perfectly okay with this. This is a, once again, phenomenal hand. Because I already see a Pidgeot Hydreigon on my next turn. Or turn 4 of the game. Yeah. Because let me just pop in for a Deino Pidgey. And let me see what our opponent does about that. Unless we get Ionoed, which would be kind of annoying to get rid of 2 rare candies and put them at the bottom of the deck. But I'm not too pressed at all about that. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but I like it. Embor's not out yet, boss man. You can't do all that with fire. But I guess we'll see what they do here. I mean, they could hit for 30. Nest Ball does come out here, so we are going to be seeing the Charmander. This is going to be a Charizard list. Nice. So there goes the manual attach onto Gouging Fire. We'll go ahead and see what they do here. And they're just going to end up passing the turn. No Badoo shenanigans for this guy. We're going to go ahead and grab these two. And I'm good with that. Because next turn, we can Ultra Ball away Pidgeotto Zweilous for Rare Candy. And then we could Pidgeot for Hydreigon. And then we can research. And then we'll see what we get off of that. Unless we top, if we top like a Crispin, we're going to have an insane turn. Let me just make sure I'm recording. I pressed the button, right? Yeah, I did press the button. So we're all good here. Everything is fine. I guess we'll see what our opponent's going to be up to this turn. Hoping they don't just sit there and pass. Terra Orb is going to grab them Charizard. Yep. Do they have the Rare Candy in hand? Do they just have it like that, like Charizard players tend to do? Yes, they do. Okay, so the Rare Candy Charizard does come out, but it's not going to be too big of a deal because we do have another Deino on the bench. Unless they boss up the Pidgey, then that could be a little problematic. But then again, we do just get Hydreigon out anyway with Ultra Ball, Zweilous, and Pidgeotto, which is going to be useless if they boss up Pidgey. Then we get the Rare Candy and the Hydreigon. Then we can research and then maybe draw a Neo Upper, start getting the prize trade going a little bit quicker. But they are just going to attach onto the Gouging Fire, and they are going to be hitting for KO with Gouging Fire. That's fine. The Max Belt on Zard is something I didn't expect, but I respect it. I am not mad at all. So let's go ahead, promote Deino, and see what we get off of this. We get another one of these guys. So we'll go ahead and Ultra Ball these two away, because we can get a play going here. Rare Candy into Pidgeot. Grab Hydreigon. Beautiful. Fresh, 7 cards, and we don't find an energy. Unless we Fez for it. Am I feeling lucky? Come on, give me a dark. Neo Upper works too. Neo Upper works just fine. 200 damage. What do we get rid of here? Terror Orb, Ultra Ball switch. Yikes. That's rough. Okay. And we get another Pidgey out of the prizes. Charizard is not swinging for a one-shot right now. This is going to be a very crashing headbutt type of game. So they're just going to swing immediately. I'm okay with that. We're going to go ahead and get a Rare Candy and a Hydreigon going. Let's go ahead and let's get a Crispin. Let's get some energy onto that other Hydreigon. Let's get a Dark and a Psychic. Let's get this guy rolling. And I think that's really all we need. We could Ultra Ball for a Duskull. And I don't really see us using PM Evo. That's the most cuttable card in the hand. We'll grab a Duskull. Just to sort of threaten a Dusknoir KO on Charizard. Let me get rid of Charmander, Arbor, Ooh. Damn. Damn. Is our opponent still with a dead hand? Because if they are, I'm not feeling too bad about it. Guess we'll see what they're up to. Yeah, they're just going to end up swinging with Burning Darkness. My opponent can't draw to save their life right now. Which is fine. I'm not too upset about that. We'll go ahead and promote Hydreigon. Polfen does come out, but we'll flip the script for 3. Night Stretcher for nothing. I guess we could just Crashing Headbutt. But you know what? Actually, here's what we're going to do. We're going to quick search for Dusclops. We're going to use it on the benched Hearthflame. That's what it is, right? Yeah, Hearthflame. They are going to take yet another prize card. And then we hang on to them too, take out their Charizard, and see where they go from there. Because I don't really need anything else. I could give them Artazon, but if I give them Artazon and they search out a basic, that lets me go for an Obsidian for game. And then again, if I take out this Charizard, they probably end up losing anyway. But we're going to bait them into benching another basic Pokemon. I own it too. Wow. Okay. So we'll attach this, guarantee an Obsidian next turn rather. Depending on what we have. Latias, Charmander, Rocky Helmet. Either we have the Metal Energy in deck or we don't. It's just that simple. Lillie Clefairy's in our hand now. That doesn't really help us too much. Do they have anything they can do with those 3 cards? They could Artazon for a basic, but then we just Obsidian next turn. They don't have Latias to retreat this thing into anything, so we will be taking a boss on what, Fez? Yeah. Whatever. This would be a perfect turn to have Crispin. Do we have another one in deck? I don't think we did. We might have prized the other Crispin. We'll use Artazon and search. If we have Crispin, we win. But if we don't, then it's going to take an extra turn. But there's a basic Dark. Let's not waste our quick search just yet. Let's go ahead and go for all. Do we have Crispin? No, we don't. Okay, so our last Crispin is prized. That's fine. If they have a Rare Candy Charizard, though, that can be a problem. So I might just give them that. Right, because if they KO Fez here, then again, let's quick search. Let's get Super Rod down. Let's put 2 Deino back and a Dusclops. We're gonna pop in for double Deino. Arven for Counter Gain, Ultra Ball. Counter Gain here. Patch this here. Pass. TM Devo, and I don't know. Solid play, but you don't have any damage on the board, so whatever, I guess. We did only use 2 Rare Candy, and we do... Oh, we have 1 more Rare Candy left in the deck. So I think what we do here, because our opponent is evil, we get rid of Rock Scouting, we grab both these energies. We go Quick Search. That's a problem. Did I throw? Did I throw the game? No. I'm not gonna give them a KO here. You're gonna have to work for it. Maybe I should have just retreated with the Energy on Fez and just hit them. Well, then again, they had the TM Devo in hand anyway, so I guess it really didn't matter too much. But if they don't take a prize card here, they basically lose, right? I think that's how that goes. Because then, yeah, okay, so here's what we do. We evolve into Pidgeot. We quick search for our last Rare Candy, which we know is in there, because we had it in hand at one point. We Rare Candy into Hydreigon. We attach onto Fez. We retreat. We go on with you. Dusclops the Pidgey. And then we end up crashing headbutt for game. That was a little stressful. But sometimes it's not a game if you're not stressing out a little bit. And there's our last Chrisman. So that's going to be it for Hydreigon. 3-0, considering I got my ass kicked on Wednesday with Garchomp. This feels really, really good. So that's going to be it for Hydreigon EX, and I'll catch you guys next Monday with yet another deck profile.